Sai Ram students, welcome to the second session of chapter 18, that is sound, production of sound. So children, before starting today's session, let's revise what we had learnt in the last session. So children, in the last session what we had seen, that sound, it is generated because of the vibration of an object, right? So every object, it will vibrate, right? But this vibration we cannot see. Sometimes we can see, sometimes we cannot see, right? So some vibrations are so minute that we cannot see by our eyes. Now when this object is vibrating, what if we touch that vibrating object, what will happen? The vibration will stop and the sound will also stop. Okay, so because of the vibration we can hear the sound, right children? So now after that children, we saw about the Indian music, the musical note sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, right? So this musical note, it requires a higher frequency. There is an increasing pitch, right? It requires a higher frequency, right? So the frequency, it is the unit of measuring this pitch. Then children, we saw about the periodic motion. Now we took the example of the tanpura. When the string of this tanpura is plucked, what happens? The object, it moves from one side of the central position and it comes back to the central position, right? So this motion of the object, it is repeating again and again at a fixed interval of time, and that is called as a periodic motion, right? So after that children, we saw about the oscillator, right? The swing that moves back and forth. Forth means front. The swing that moves front and back is called as the oscillator, right? So after that we saw children about one oscillation, right? So the swing, when it moves from one end to the other and it returns to its starting point, that time it is said to complete one oscillation. Then we saw children about the oscillatory motion, the back and forth motion of an oscillator on either side of the central position is called as the oscillatory motion. So let's start with today's session children. Now this is the figure of the oscillation of a swing. So as I told you children, this is the starting point which is at rest, right? So the swing, it moves front, this is the front position and this is the back position, right? So this is called as the oscillation of a swing. That means it comes front, it goes back and again it comes to the starting point. So that is called as the oscillation. So now children, here in the figure you can see a porcelain bowl has been taken and a rubber band is stretched to it, right? This is your rubber band. Okay, so you can also take a steel glass also, and for that also you can stretch this rubber band, right? Now children, when you give a jerk over here to this rubber band, it will vibrate. So you have to observe children by giving a greater amount of force and also by applying a smaller amount of force, and you have to observe what happens. Now children, as I told you, when this rubber band, it is stretched, right? It is stretched at the original position and it comes to the position B, right? When it is stretched, you can see here you will see the curved position over it below, right? So children, whenever you apply a greater amount of force, what will happen? The rubber band, it will stretch more, right? And the you will hear a louder sound and the amplitude will increase, right? And if you apply a smaller amount of force, what will happen? The rubber band, it will stretch less, right? And the amplitude will decrease, right? And you will hear a softer sound, right? So children, as I told you, when you stretch a rubber band, right, you will see that a curved position you can see over here, right? The shadow you will see, right? And when you apply a greater amount of force, the amplitude will increase and because the rubber band is stretched more, right? When you apply greater amount of force, the rubber band, it gets stretched more, and that's why the amplitude will increase and you will hear a louder sound, right? And say when you apply a small amount of force, the rubber band will stretch less, right? And that's the reason the amplitude will decrease and you will hear a softer sound. The maximum distance between the original position A and the position B on stretching the rubber is called as the amplitude of the vibration, right? So when, as I told you, when greater force is applied to the rubber, it will stretch further. That means amplitude is increased. And when you release this rubber, right, what will happen? A louder sound is generated. So what is the amplitude of vibration? The maximum distance between the original position A and the position B on stretching the rubber is called as the amplitude of the vibration. And as I told you, when smaller force is applied, the rubber is stretched less. That means the amplitude is smaller and the sound is softer. Now, the example which I gave you, children, about the pendulum, right? So the maximum distance between the original positions A of the pendulum and the extreme position B or C is called as the amplitude of the oscillation. So the stretched rubber, when it comes to the original state, when it is released, so that property is called as elasticity, right? And when the stretch rubber band, it vibrates, that means the elasticity is at work. Now children, even when the pendulum, it is oscillating, that means the earth's gravitation is also at work, right? So the rubber band, when it is stretched, on releasing, when it comes back to its original state, that property is called as elasticity. And when this stretch rubber band, it vibrates, that means elasticity is working. And this pendulum, when it oscillates, right, from the central position A to B or C, that means the earth's gravitation is also at work. So now children, we'll see about the oscillatory motion and the amplitude, right? Now what you're going to do, children, you're going to take a strong thread which is about 1/2 meter long, right? And this is your thread, right? And you are going to attach a iron ball or a wooden ball to it, right? And then you are going to suspend, that is hang it freely in the air, right? And now you are going to give oscillatory motion to this pendulum. Now this wooden or iron ball is your pendulum. Now you will give oscillatory motion to this pendulum, right? So when you give oscillatory motion, means back and forth, right? So what will happen? This pendulum, it will go to B, right? From B to A to C, again from C to A, and A to B it will go, right? So the maximum distance traveled by this pendulum from the original position A to this extreme point B or extreme point C is called as the amplitude of the oscillation. And in this figure, your AC is the amplitude of oscillation and AB is your amplitude of oscillation. So children, what we have done over here, we have taken a strong thread which is about 1/2 meter long, and what we have done, we have tied a iron ball or a wooden ball to this thread, which is your pendulum, right? Which is called as the pendulum. Now this pendulum, you are going to give oscillatory, after hanging it freely in the air, what you are going to do, you are going to give oscillatory motion to it. So what it will do, it will move from the starting point A, so it will go to B, from B to A it will come, A to C, from C to A, and again A to B, right? So this is called as the amplitude of the oscillation. So here in this figure, AC and AB, this is your amplitude of oscillation, right children? Now we are going to see about the time period of oscillation and frequency, right? So the time period required by an oscillator to complete one oscillation is called as the time period of the oscillator, right? So one completion of one oscillation, that is known as the time period of the oscillator. Now in the previous activity, the oscillator, it traverses the distance from the extreme position B to central position A, and from there to position C, then back to A, and from A to B, right? Now you can see here, children. Now the time required by the oscillator to traverse this distance, that means now this A is the central position, right? So what will happen? The pendulum, it will go from, right? When you are giving the oscillation to the pendulum, so what it will do? It will go from B to A, right? So this is your B to A it will go, then it will go to C, again from C it will come to A, and again it will go to B, right? So this is the time period of the oscillation of the oscillator, right? So the number of oscillations completed by an oscillator in 1 second is called as the frequency of the oscillation, right? So how many oscillations it takes in 1 second, that is called as the frequency of the oscillation. So the total motion B to A to C, C to A, and A to B in the previous activity, that means in the previous figure which I showed, that is one oscillation. So as I had told you, children, here it is A, here it is B, and here it is C, right? So from B to A to C, and again C to A and A to B, like this it goes front, again it comes back. So that is your one oscillation. So how is it calculated? Frequency, it is denoted by the alphabet N, small n, is equal to 1 upon time period of oscillation. Now time period of oscillation, it is denoted by the letter T, right? So frequency N is equal to 1 upon T, right? So frequency, it is the number of oscillations occurring in 1 second, right? So what is the formula for calculating the frequency? N is equal to 1 upon T. N is your frequency and T is the time period of oscillation. Now frequency, it is the number of oscillations occurring in 1 second, and the unit of frequency is Hertz, HERTZ, and the short form is H and small z, capital H and small z. So 1 Hertz means there is one oscillation in 1 second. So 100 Hertz means 100 oscillations in 1 second. So children, the unit of frequency is Hertz, 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 and if you want you can write it in the short form as capital H and small z. So 1 Hertz means there is one oscillation in 1 second. So similarly 100 Hertz means there will be 100 oscillation in 1 second. Now if you take 20 Hertz, so 20 Hertz means 20 oscillation in 1 second. Understood, children? So children, the time period of the oscillation which is there, it depends upon the length of the pendulum, right? So if there is an increase in the length of the pendulum, what will happen? The time period of the oscillation will increase, and if the length of the pendulum is decreased, then the time period will decrease, right? Similarly, the frequency also will change depending upon the length of the pendulum, right? So the frequency, it will decrease depending when there is an increase in the length of the pendulum, and the frequency will increase when there is a decrease in the length of the pendulum, right? So and children, the amplitude which is there, right, the frequency, it does not depend upon the amplitude of the oscillation. So if there is a change in the amplitude, the frequency will remain the same, right? So as I told you, children, the time period of the oscillation, it depends upon the length of the pendulum. So if there is an increase in the length of the pendulum, there will be the time period of the oscillation will increase, and if there is a decrease in the length of the pendulum, then the time period will decrease, right? And the frequency, that also depends upon the length of the pendulum, right? So if there is an increase in the length of the pendulum, the frequency will decrease, and if there is an decrease in the length of the pendulum, the frequency will increase, right children? And the frequency, it does not depend upon the change in the amplitude, right? Even if the amplitude changes, the frequency will remain the same. We'll stop here only, children. So before let's revise what we have learnt in today's session, children. So in today's session, children, we saw about the example of a porcelain dish where the rubber band was stretched, and there when you gave a jerk to the rubber band, what happened? Whenever you apply a greater force to the rubber band, right? So what happens? The rubber band, it gets stretched further, it gets stretched more. So that means the amplitude is increasing, and you will hear a louder sound. When you apply a smaller force to this rubber band, what will happen? The amplitude, it will decrease, because the rubber band, it will stretch less, right? So the sound also which you will hear, that will be softer, right? Then children, we saw about the one example of tying a pendulum to a thread, right? A wooden ball or an iron ball. So when the pendulum, it is at the original position A, right? When you give one oscillation to it, what it will do? It will first move to the extreme right, that is the position B, and from B it will go to A, from A it will go to the left position C, from C again it will return back to A, and from A it will go back to B. So that is called as a one oscillation, right? So the time period time required by the oscillator to complete one oscillation is called as the amplitude, is called as the time period of the oscillation. So the time required by the oscillator to complete one oscillation is called as the time period of the oscillator, right? And the unit of measuring frequency is hertz, right? So 1 hertz means 1 oscillation in 1 second, and 100 hertz means 100 oscillations in 1 second. And how do you calculate the frequency? Frequency is denoted by the letter N is equal to 1 upon T, where T is the time period of the oscillator, right children? So in the next session, children, we'll see more things about this sound. Till then, goodbye.